The episode starts with the chief of the Awagakure village being stabbed with swords, spears, and arrows, and due to this, his guts fall out to the ground. But to everyone's shock, the chief of the Awagakure village stands still and remains unharmed. Gabimaru tells Sagiri that the village chief was blessed with immortality medicine when he acquired it from a land across the sea. Even though Sagiri doubted it was not real and may not be on the island, Gabimaru confirms it, saying that the elixir of life does exist. As they headed forward, Sagiri was amazed at the beauty of the land and the different flowers, which she hadn't seen in her life. Gabimaru then interrupts her thoughts and tells her that the land might look like heaven due to its beauty. But there's no way these plants have grown on their own, and he feels suspicious that somebody or something must be behind it. He then frees himself of his restraints, but Sagiri refuses to allow him to do whatever pleases him. Gabimaru tells him that he won't be able to complete his task with his hands cuffed. Before he can say anything else, Sagiri threatens to cut his neck with her sword, stating that as an executioner, she was assigned for this job to keep an eye on the criminal, and whether he completes the task or not, it's not her job, as she cannot overlook any attempt to break the rules. Gabimaru agreed to the terms, and before he can bind his hands, he is hit with a surprise attack from Warped Kaien, a monk warrior who fell in love with weapons during the training and then stole hundreds of them after killing their owners. But to everyone's shock, the attack does not have any effect on Gabimaru. He then notices that the criminal's arms are not restrained and complains to Sagiri about it. Sagiri questioned Kisho as why he was not following the rules, but instead of giving her any answers, he mocked her for being the lowest ranked and tells her that rules are not necessary in this land. Wanting to test out his weapons, Kaien challenges Gabimaru to a fight and then plans to kill other criminals and get the elixir by himself. At first, Gabimaru ignores his request, saying that he does not want to kill anyone because his wife wouldn't like it, but due to not having any choice, he decides to go with it. Hearing this, Kaien charges at Gabimaru with his weapons, but before Gabimaru can do anything, Sagiri tells him to bind his hands as she cannot break her rules. While he does so, Kaien attacks him with a barrage of weapons. However, they had no effect on him. After tying his hands, he lifts the giant upwards with his spear and kicks his spear towards him, piercing his chest with it. Kaien manages to survive after revealing that he was wearing armor underneath his clothing. He then prepares himself to fight Gabimaru once more, but is later killed by the powerful ninja. After that, Gabimaru tells Sagiri that he wishes to move on to find the elixir of life, but suddenly spots Kisho drawing out his sword and instantly beheading Kaien with it. He tells Gabimaru that they are neither their enemies nor allies, but if someone tries to break the rules, they will kill him, and this statement surprised Gabimaru since he already told him that rules are not necessary in this land. Since the criminal he was assigned to is dead, Kisho decides to leave the island, but Sagiri warned him about the 60 men that went missing on the island and tells him to be careful on his way out. Kisho informs her that he considers himself lucky for getting out of this hell so quickly, revealing that the moment they landed on this island, the criminals to whom they were assigned had already made their move. Some started to kill others to remove their competition, while others plotted to work together, even using every method to survive in this hell. When asked whether breaking rules will invalidate their pardon, Kisho tells her that to a samurai, the shogun's word is absolute, but their priorities matter first, as the rules that the shogun gave should not be taken seriously since it might risk the chances of acquiring the elixir of life. He then pointed towards Gabimaru as a prime example and offered her a chance to return by cutting him down. Having heard enough, Gabimaru silenced Kisho and told him nothing else mattered as long as he got to see his wife. Kisho informed him that when Rokuruda was being transported to this hand, the helping staff were worried if he were to awaken and go on a rampage, but Aizen assured everyone that he would take care of him. When they arrived on the land, Aizen sensed his hunger for blood and tried to attack him, but to his shock, his sword had no effect on him, and Rokuruda killed him after that. Kisho then warned Gabimaru that the situation would change again and the number of criminals would decrease in a day, and the shogun, who had already made contact with the Awagakure village, planned to add more people to this island. Before making his departures, Kisho tells Sagiri that this mission will determine the next head of the Yamada clan. Afterwards, Sagiri moves on towards traveling with Gabimaru but intercepts a surprise sword attack from him. When asked about his sudden change of action, Gabimaru revealed that he plans to kill her and find the elixir of life before others. He then recalls his past memories, including when the chief of the Awagakure village killed his parents and took him in as his own child. As Gabimaru fights Sagiri, he remembers the Awagakure chief's words to him as an infant about how sentimentality is weakness, and how if he is not strong, he won't be able to protect anyone. After what Kisho said about Awagakure getting involved in the mission, Gabimaru knew that it would all be over for him in terms of finding the elixir of life and had no choice but to kill Sagiri. As they fought, Sagiri and Gabimaru were holding back in confusion. Gabimaru then remembers his wife's words on how sentimentality is not a form of weakness but a form of strength as a warrior. He then goes back to remembering the chief's beliefs again and cuts Sagiri's sword in half. Gabimaru then proceeds to attack, telling her that resisting is useless and that he apologizes for this. Before he can kill her with his sword, his hands begin to tremble, and he wonders why this hasn't happened to him before. Suddenly, the vision of his wife appears and prevents him from doing that. Seeing this, Sagiri thinks that he always saw this man with the same worn expression he's wearing now, like he's trying to endure something, but then realizes that the environment he was raised in gave him the wrong idea, and he's not a hollow but a man with a sensitive heart. Gabimaru then sheds tears, saying that emotions will make him weak, and in this way, he won't be able to survive on the island or see his wife. Sagiri tells Gabimaru that the fact that he can feel emotions is a sign of strength and not weakness, and she promises him that if he faces his emotions while reclaiming his life, then she will support him throughout the journey. Finally, Sagiri tells Gabimaru that he is no longer the man he was before, and sheathes his sword. Arriving on the land, Fuchi looks at the man-made objects, but Guntetsu notices a butterfly that stung him on his left hand and sees that it has a human face. Remembering what happened to the guard that had returned from the island, Guntetsu quickly cuts off his left hand and the butterfly with his sword. When asked why he did it, he showed him the face of a man on it, stating that the butterfly is not from their world. Suddenly his cut hand starts blooming into flowers, and some creatures and butterflies begin to approach them. Enraging with excitement to kill those creatures, they suddenly notice a large creature with a spear on his hand and neck and a large tongue with hands on his eyes coming from behind and become disturbed. Meanwhile, Gabimaru and Sagiri are also approached by the same creatures. While Sagiri seems terrified, Gabimaru tells her to stay back and prepares to engage in battle. And this brings the anime to an end. Comment for part 4, don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. Also, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss out on another video. Until next time, take care.